Hi, this is Ken Gidge, and this is Art Show, Art Sales. This show will be done for you out there with the artists from the surrounding area every single week. Art's really, really important, and as we all know, a great deal of monies for art has just gone away. So here at Access Nashville, we're going to make sure that the artist and art is something that will be all the time here. So it's called Art Show, Art Sales. We're going to introduce the artist. We're going to see some of his work. If you like it, you can call him or go to his website and buy it. Within 6 weeks, we will be doing art show right in studio, a live art show. Then in turn, you can meet the artist if you want to come and purchase the work and also be interviewed about the work that you buy or you see or you like. So this is the first of many shows hopefully to come, and we're very fortunate today because we have David Smith, who's a professional photographer and crazy because he did radio, and anyone who does radio is always a little crazy. So welcome, David.
Thank you very much, Ken.
Well, your art is photography.
Yes, it is. It's one of my favorite. It's different than an artist with a paintbrush. My paintbrush is my camera.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, yes. But I mean, was this always love? Did you?
It always was.
From a child? I mean.
Yes, I actually started in when I was like a teenager, playing around with my father's box camera, taking pictures and seeing what they look like, and then I just continued.
Go through the film.
Yeah, through the film world, and it was interesting. I really liked the idea of capturing things that I saw, and it looked out pretty good for me. So I just continued down the road with some training as well as my own self-training in photography.
Little box cameras, don't you wish you had one now?
I know. Those are the ways they were back then.
Yeah. You're in digital right now, I take it?
I think that's pretty much everybody in the photography world has gone digital now.
What is, I have a digital camera also, and I wouldn't have anything else, obviously, because getting film, etc. But some people still like film and love film. Is that because I guess they can do their work inside their darkroom?
Yeah, I think there are some photographers that are still using film. And what they do is they use the high-end professional, take the pictures, and then they get the negatives, and then they transfer them into the digital world and making them a better picture because film is a higher resolution than digital, and it gives you a better quality picture. So they still do that kind of stuff, and some people still print it, and they buy the large format cameras or the 35 millimeter, and they're still doing it. I think it's going to be there for a while. Digital has not really completely gone all the way yet as full frame.
Well, about 9 years ago, I always say I was, in the top 100 digital artists for about 15 seconds, all right? And so I did digital work, pictures, and then, enhance them and whatever. And I went in and they put them up, and artists came in and said, if you don't take his work down, we're going to take our work out, because they were doing such as art.
Right. Right.
And a true digital photographer came in and tried to get his work up. They wouldn't put it up because it was not sort of like the natural work.
Well, they used to call that wet photos, the old-fashioned way, and that's more creative photography in a sense that you're doing with the film and the enlarger and the darkroom and stuff. Where digital is now, it's in the computer. You just bring the photo in, and then you just manipulate it or do whatever you want with it.
You can add moons.
Oh, you can do double exposures, and all that's done in the computer, as opposed to years ago where I used to do a lot of creative stuff in the darkroom, black and white and color.
Well, I used to argue that is a darkroom.
It's considered a darkroom, the computer.
Well,
now.
I mean, it's different. And I can imagine, I think when the cameras came out, the regular painting artists, because doing portraits, said, "Oh, that's nothing. Anybody can do that." Until I think someone like Ansel Adams and other artists like that came along and said, "No."
Yeah, he did a lot of his work in creation in the darkroom, and
yes.
Ansel Adams. And
Yes.
I mean, that's the way he did his work with the enlarger and exposures and the like.
Oh, I knew that if he was still alive, he'd be using digital.
I don't know. You
Oh,
think?
yeah. No. He was, that's just my opinion. I mean, I'm not the professional you are.
Right.
So.
Another guy that I thought was pretty good was Brad Washburn. He's another well-known photographer. He does a lot of black white, and he's done a lot of aerial photography. And he's got some good stuff out there, Brad Washburn.
Well, we're going to look at a little bit of your work. Now, where is your favorite place? I mean, you were born in Lowell.
Yeah.
You lived a little here in Nashua, then you moved to Hudson.
Right. Well, my most place I like to spend my time is in the White Mountains. That's where I take all my photos. And there's just so many different mountain peaks, streams, trails, rocks, trees that I could be there for a lifetime and still not get it all. But I go up at different times of the year because at different times of the year you get different looks at the same picture. You know, like a black and white, snow days will be different than a green day, you know, with all the trees. So.
Do you like evenings?
I like sunrises, sunrise and
really?
sunset photos.
You get up at that time?
Yeah, well, you know, if you want to get the lighting just right, you want to get at that angle, yeah.
No, I think anyone who wakes up before birds definitely is a little crazy.
Yeah, well, that's what you have to be.
Now you do sell your work.
Yes, I do.
Where have you sold it?
I've sold it at a number of craft fairs around, and then just people who have seen my work and just like to have a photo of it, and that's pretty much it. I'm trying to expand that so I get more of the information out in the website, and I can sell online. But right now, mostly craft fairs.
Okay, and your website is NH High Above.
That's right.
Just the way it sounds.com.
Mm-hmm. And I do have a gallery out there. It's a small one. It's got an idea. Some of the photos that we have today are going to be on there, and they're just for looking at, you know. And at this point, it's got a little bio of myself.
I hope people really understand that artists, as I said at the very beginning, are extremely important. And here's a professional person who does landscapes, I would take it. And it's really, really necessary that you go out, look at the work, and if you like it, buy a little, because these things are not necessarily extremely expensive. And I truly believe that if 25% of any community bought original work and put it up on the wall, we would become a mecca for artists.
Oh, by all means, yes,
Yeah,
I agree with you with that. Yeah, like you said, the prices aren't that high, and the quality is, it's an artist. The guy does a lot of work in it.
Yeah, it's an artist.
Yeah, he does. He puts his heart into it, like me with my photos. I'll go up on cold days because I want to get the picture. And sometimes hot days, I'll go up in these mountains and stoke to get the picture.
Well, I think we're going to look at a couple of pictures.
Okay.
I think Richard in our control room, the one who is the god of this, will be putting one up, and then we can talk about it.
Sure.
So you, well, there's one.
Okay, what we have today is, this one here is Arethusa Falls, and it's in Crawford Notch. It's off the Bemis Brook, and it's one of the tallest falls in New Hampshire. It's 176 feet high, and it deserved my photo because of the history of it. It was discovered by a couple explorers up in that area, and a trail was blazed into the area to see the waterfalls, and they are beautiful year-round. That was in the spring, still a little snow on one side, but it's beautiful in all times of the year.
176 feet high. Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's a beautiful piece of work. Now, was there a time lapse with that a little? Or?
No, I just I just set the camera accordingly. I took about maybe 3 or 4 to get the right setting on the lighting and everything until it was just right.
Okay, I think we're going to be looking at another one right now, and then you can tell us what it is.
Okay, this is Mount Chocorua. Some people say it's Chocorua, and it's well known up in the White Mountains in the Sandwich Range. If you're coming up, like say Route 25 through Ossipee, you'll see the mountain sitting up there. It's the first peaky one you see from a distance, and it's named after a Chief Chocorua who lived there with an Indian tribe years ago, and it was named after him after devastating thing happened with him and one of the settlers, and that's in the part of the history of it. But it's
Well,
one of the,
was it a murder or?
well, what had happened was Shakora was the chief of a tribe up there, and his tribe moved up to Canada, and his son stayed behind with the Campbell family, Cornelius and his family. Unfortunately, his son got into some poison and died. So when Shakora came back, he saw that and he was outraged, and he went after the family and kind of sort of like murdered them, and he went after, and Cornelius chased him up to the top of the mountain. And, and the legend says that he either jumped or he was shot by Cornelius, but prior to him doing that, he put a curse on the valley, that all their crops would die and their livestock would die, and that Cornelius himself would die shortly after this all took place.
What? Maybe we shouldn't have shown that picture.
No, the actual mountain is it's a rock top, but it wasn't always a rock top. It was a tree top, and a forest fire took place, I think, in the early 1900s, and burnt all the trees off the summit, and all was left was the rock.
So obviously nothing obviously is grown back up there.
No, because all the soil that was around the rocks had washed down over the years, and nothing could grow except small little shrubs.
That's an interesting story.
Yep.
So, it's interesting when like you're a photographer, when artists do come up with, their work with a little bit of history. And that's, I guess, do you sell your work that way? I mean, is that?
Most cases, if somebody sees a picture and I just get into the history of it and why I took the picture and why it's there and why it got its name. And
that sells it.
And it sort of like sells it, because then they say, hey, I got a bit of a history here, They just don't see a picture of a mountain with a lake, They're seeing history that took place up in the White Mountains years ago.
Wow. Okay, we're going to be looking at another picture.
Okay, this is one of the huts that the AMC has. It's called Lakes of the Clouds. You can see it over there in the distance. That is one of the huts that they have. There's 8 of them up there, and I went up there just to take some pictures because
there's a hut up there. Did you say?
It's a hut
on top of the mountain.
Yeah, you can see it in the background there. It's called Lakes of the Clouds over to the right there. That building with the roof on it.
Okay.
And it's one of the large huts that they have up there in the White Mountains. And I went up there mainly because it's a good place to take sunset shots and sunrise shots. And it also sits right between 2 other mountains, Mount Monroe, which is that peak you see in the distance, and behind me is Mount Washington.
And, okay, that's Mount Washington to the left?
Mount Washington is behind me.
All right, behind you. And are those crosses or what?
Those are trail signs. That one's
signs.
indicating that it's going down to the Crawford Path, the top one, and the other one's telling us that we're going over to Lonesome Lakes of the Clouds.
Well, at least you know that I'm not out there. I'll tell you, I would have known that. But now that hut, is that for everyone? Anybody?
Anybody can go there, members or non-members of the AMC. It is a fee you have to pay. And you get to stay how many nights you want. It has 2 meals. They actually serve you breakfast and dinner. And it's a well-organized group there at the AMC, and I've been with them for years. But I just happen to pick on their hut because it's a very good location for photos.
Yeah, it is very interesting where it is. So I take it you get exercise also. That's part
Definitely
of...
got to have the exercise. Yeah, that's very important. I get a lot of exercising hiking. These mountains, some of these hikes are 5 and 6 miles long, but it's not like walking on a road. It's up and down.
Well, you're retired at a fairly young age from MIT. What did you do there?
I did various work in research and also administrative work for the...
Okay, a little research. What's research?
Well, I did the research with ionosphere studies and at one of their Westford site that has radar up there that does some study with ionosphere, the different layers of the ionosphere, and taking data for them, collecting data and processing it.
Would this be done with pictures?
No, this is all done with radar.
Just plain radar?
Yeah, they just bounce the radar off the ionosphere, get a reading back, and then you got a bunch of numbers, and then they can plot something with the numbers, the PhDs.
Well, that's good, and as long as, you're not going to get me in the middle of the night with all right, we're going to look at some more pictures.
Okay,
this
particular one was taken from Mount Liberty. It's looking towards the north, because that's the northwest. And the furthest mountain there with the white cap on the top of it, that's actually Cannon Mountain.
That's Cannon.
That's Cannon Mountain. This is on the Franconia Ridge. If you come up through Franconia Ridge or Franconia Notch itself, through the notch, you'll see, going north, you'll see all these ranges of mountains. And this is one of them. Mount Liberty is one of the first that you'll see.
Now, how did you get, is there a road behind you?
I have the trail all the way to the top. The trail
From
is
where?
From the trailhead is usually at the bottom of the
I
by
know.
the road.
Okay.
By the road, and you just follow the trailhead up trail all the way to the summit, and usually it's about 2 or 3 miles long, and the snow at that time the snow was about knee deep with snowshoes. And that's a little bit of a workout, but it was worth it. The photos, that was taken right after a nor'easter that took place in New England. I just went up there, 7-degree weather. Can you beat that?
No, you can't beat that, and you get up, you're an early person getting up before the birds,
Oh,
which,
yeah.
And now you're in 2 feet of snow climbing a mountain to take a picture. Well, I guess you're an artist, because artists are always a little,
Oh, yeah.
always a little strange.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I've always been told that.
Oh, yeah, well, of course. I mean, I think that's probably why a lot of artists come up with extremely creative things, because they're, you know, the road not traveled by, I would say there's a lot of artists on it.
Oh, definitely. I meet them all the time.
Good. All right, what are we going to be looking at this time?
Okay, this is actually looking at Mount Willie to the right there, and you can see that track that looks like a road. That's apparently a railroad track that goes up through the
That's a railroad track?
It goes through Crawford Notch. It comes out of North Conway, and it goes up into right up into Bretton Woods.
Now, was that a real railroad track?
Real
or is that
railroad
an
track.
old one?
No, it's been there for a while, but it's maintained, and it's actually a train that travels on it.
And where can you get the train?
Out of North Conway.
All right, out of North Conway, and it takes you where?
It takes you all the way up to Bretton Woods.
And the mountain on the right is?
Mount Willie, and it's named after the Willie family who lived at the base of that mountain. And if you see that patch of white, which is called the Willie Slide, that's where the landslide took place back in, that took place in 1826. A landslide took place, and it actually, the whole family was wiped out because of this avalanche. However, the story goes that their house was never touched. So they ran from their house to go to the barn to be protected from the landslide, and yet if they stayed in their house, they would have been okay. The reason being is a rock in line with the house, and the landslide went on each side of the rock. The house was never touched. However,
that had nothing to do with that Indian who...
no, it had nothing to do with
okay.
the Indian. This is an entirely different event that took
Where were
place.
you taking that picture from?
I was on top of Mount Willard, which is a 2,800-foot mountain. It's looking straight down into the notch. It's one of the most popular hikes. And I was able to grab the trail and the notch and the train track and all.
Okay, what are we going to be looking at this time?
Okay, this is Mount Washington, which is the tallest mountain in New England, as we know, 6,288 feet. It's had a lot of history, more history than we can think of, weather-wise. The settlers, actually the Indian settlers gave it their own version of the top of the mountain, and that was called Agiocookachuk.
Oh, look at that.
That's the observatory that's up there that's maintained 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This mountain was named Agiocookachuk because the Indians feared the top of it. They believed it was
feared the top of it?
there because the great spirit was up there, and they never went to the summit.
Because it was very windy.
Windy. Well, we called it windy, but they thought it was gods were up there, and they didn't want to go up there.
Well, don't we still have the world record? Was it 200 miles an hour?
Well,
or something,
yeah,
or?
we do hold it in this hemisphere, although I think it was New Zealand that captured something higher, but that was in the southern hemisphere. I still believe that we captured the highest. 235 miles an hour, I believe it was at one time.
Well, the smart Indians said, I got to go up there. I mean, my God.
That's for sure. And this mountain is well climbed from different sides. It's got a cog rail on it. It's got a road to the top of it. It's a very well-known tourist place to go.
And every single year, somebody either gets lost.
Whole parish up there.
Yeah, or perish up there.
Yeah.
But I kind of don't understand that. If there's a mountain, you walk towards the mountain.
Yeah.
And then coming back, I don't know. I don't climb mountains.
Well, this one is one that's a challenge for people, as they all like doing this one. It's one of those mountains that they run up it, They bike up it.
They run up it?
Yeah, there's a couple events that take place, a run to the summit, and there's also a bike race to the summit. It's just there to...
That's self-torture.
Yeah.
Running up the mountain?
I was lucky to be up there one time, and very early in the morning doing some photography, and I actually saw the Atlantic Ocean from there for about 20 minutes.
You're kidding me.
The sun was reflecting off the ocean. I could see it, but as the time went on and the sun was rising, eventually you would not see the reflection.
Did you get any pictures of that?
I got a couple of them, but it's you really have to look for it. You know, the naked eye can see it better than the photo, because it's just a flat reflected.
Sure.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, sure. Wow.
Yep.
That's quite fascinating. You could see that. I never knew that.
Yeah, you could see the Atlantic Ocean from there on a good day, clear day. It was a cool day, and there was no clouds, and the sun was reflecting right off the ocean. It was nice to see.
Yeah, that's would be quite a picture.
Yep.
So what are we going to look at now?
Okay, this is one of the famous birds that's up there in the White Mountains.
What is it?
It's called the gray jay.
And it looks kind of mean.
Well, it's not really mean. It's a very friendly bird. It actually will have the tendency to, if you hold out your hand, it'll land on your hand. They're that friendly. They're found above the tree line. They're called an alpine bird because they don't go below 3,000 feet. They stay on the top of the mountain. And they go around looking for crumbs that hikers have dropped along the way.
And that's it?
Yeah, and they just kind of like keep you a friendly distance from you along the trail. This one was probably about maybe 4 feet away from me when I took the picture.
4 feet?
Yep. I've gotten even closer now. I've gotten up to 2 feet away from them. And like I said, you could put them in your hand. They'll just rest in your hand. What I'll do is I'll break up pine cones and put it in my hand, let them eat out of my hand.
They'll eat pine cones?
They'll eat the little pieces of pine cone and pine nuts that's inside there. But I don't feed them regular food because they get distracted that way, and they think that they're always going to get food from people, and that's not good. So we like to feed them what they like to eat, and that's pretty much it.
We know that once you start feeding animals like that, they will come around.
That's right. That's for sure. So the gray jay is very popular. That's a very popular bird up in the White Mountains.
This work is really interesting. It's fascinating. It's not. It's you know, you work to get the pictures.
That's worth it.
So yeah, well, I think it's worth it also for the people who are looking for something that is. These are obviously one of a kind pictures, and they all have kind of a story, which is interesting. Do we have any more to look at?
No, I believe that was all the photos that we had here today.
Well, where do you see yourself in, let's say, 5 years? Is it selling? Is it?
I'm looking more on the presentation type side, still taking the pictures, but not as much, but mostly going around sharing my work with organizations to see, you know, presentations of the photos and stuff.
Now, you have something in the Hudson Library?
Yes, at the Hudson Library, the whole month of February, my photos will be in their conference room on display, and if they are interested, they're for sale. At the same time, the 6th of February, I'll be doing a presentation, and the 14th of February.
What time?
The one on the 6th is going to be at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You can call the library to get more information. And the one on the 14th is going to be at 7 o'clock at night.
Now, the presentation is what exactly?
Is my photos, as you see, with history involved with it, more in detail in history. So it's a more educational view of my photos with the history of the White Mountains.
So they will get to meet you. They will.
I will be there.
Your photos.
I will be there off and on during the month of February at certain times. I'll be there.
What sizes do you?
Oh, different sizes. I'll have 8x10s and I'll have 11x14s, all framed, and they'll be mounted on the wall for people to view.
Prices?
They're going to vary depending on. I really haven't pulled out the actual photos I'm going to be using at this point, so they could range in between $85 to $90 a piece. The large ones, the small ones, a little bit less. Probably around $35, $40 for the 8x10. Do
you limit your pictures, or are you just going to keep selling them?
I'll keep selling them. If somebody sees one, they want that one, and somebody else wants the same one, I'll just print one up for them as well. So I can continue selling the same pictures or different ones.
Well, you know, I hope people understand the importance of this gentleman, and we certainly have a lot of other people coming in, creative individuals. This man really works to get the picture because he loves the art, the photography, and to climb these mountains take 3 hours to get up there. And so when they see this work, they're not going to see it anywhere else.
Pretty much, that's true.
I mean, do you ever go up there and find out other photographers?
Oh, there are some up there, but not as many. Most people drive up through the notches and they look, oh, these beautiful mountains. I'd like to be up on top. So my whole deal is to capture that, bring it down to them so they can see it, so they won't have to climb the mountain.
Well, that's wonderful. Okay, so would you please tell the people where they can get in touch with you?
Okay, they can, through my website, NH High Above, my email is there. It's photosmith2005@yahoo.com. And that way they can contact me if they see any of the photos on there and they're interested. Email me and we'll set up some kind of a deal.
Okay, so it's NH
High Above.
High Above, HIGH.
That's NH High Above, which is high like the word high, HIGH, and above. High Above, New Hampshire.
Is there a excuse me, you do have a website, obviously this is
That's
it.
the website.
Is there a telephone number or?
You can call me at my house phone number is 603-883-8250. And I'm glad to take your call and we can work out some kind of a deal.
Well, in the future, as I have said at the beginning of the show, we will be doing in-studio art shows. So you are invited with a lot of other people to come in and to do the show. And so it should be very fascinating. And I think Access Nashua, hopefully, if this show goes over the way we believe it's going to go over, we hope that other people will copy it. Art's very important. As I said, they're taking money away. That's really dumb. And these people, if you go into their homes who wish to take the money away from us, guess what? They have nothing. You know, they have no original art. So if you want to become an important individual, buy original art and put it up. And if we get 25% of any community to do that, we'll become an art mecca.
Oh, by all means, yes.
Well, David Smith, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ken.
Okay. So my name is Ken Gidge, and we'll be doing more of these shows, and thank you for watching.